Hello and welcome to French Property Renovations, and today, as you can see, we're going to continue with our NHL 3.5 line pointing, and I've got the mix on in the background, so utilise my time. As you can see, we've got a section done up to now. It doesn't really give you a great overall view of what it's going to look like when it's finished, but I'm going to continue today, hopefully up to the top of the door jamb, this area. So maybe we're on ladders, maybe we're on a little hop up, but we're going to get to here and then go across ways, and then later on we'll have some scaffolding up to do the top section. Hopefully, because we're just using a nice 3-to-1 straight mix, it should all blend in, and if there is a slight discoloration match with the weather and over time, that should just nicely blend in and then all look the same. But generally it'll blend in quite well, I think. The tools I've found up to now that are really useful: my brush for tamping it all in, compacting it and getting the strength in there, and helping to eliminate as much shrinkage as possible. My pointing trowel that's curved at the end, and my finger trowel and my dustpan. They're the main tools I'm using. It's also worth pointing out that I've got a bucket of broken stones for all the bigger gaps. So the plan today is to point this up and to show you how I'm filling all these little gaps. So we'll do a bit of that close up, and then after that I'm going to move my camera out and do some time lapse and just plod along and keep working. It's going to be 32 degrees today, so I don't know if you can see, it looks a bit darker because I've sprayed it with water, and I'm going to give it another spray over soon and then crack on. But hopefully with enough water on it, there'll be water in these stones, and when you're breaking them you'll find for your little bits, you'll find how strong your stones are, because you'll find if some break easily, some you keep whacking them and whacking them, so you do need your goggles on doing that. But hopefully some of these bigger gaps I can put more of the stone in, because we don't want too big a mortar joint, so those stones that we push into these joints will help, and also help with the carbonation. So it should be a nice day. I've got till about 2 o'clock I think when the sun comes round from the back of my house, so it's going to be a hot one today, so I'll have to keep a good eye on moisture and keep hosing it and what have you. But it's easier outside now because I can use the hose pipe. Obviously when I was doing the inside bit I didn't really want to use the hose pipe on my house, so let's crack on. So I'm ready to get going, get my gloves on, and we're going to try and do this area here, so I'm hoping you can see what we're doing and see how we're going to fill it. And I think I've got everything that we need close to hand to do it. So let's start by getting some mortar. So what I've done, I've got my mix, and I've got a bucket, half a bucket full of mortar. So what I've done, I've just added a little bit of water to the mix because I don't want it drying out while I'm doing this. So I just added a little bit extra in there and turned it around a few times, and now I've turned it off. But basically this is what we're going to do now, and I'm going to try and keep myself out of the way. So basically I'm going to put my mortar board, my shovel, not my shovel, my dustpan, and we'll fill, and we're going to try and use the end of this to compact it in with. And what I tend to do is go backwards and forwards with it to fill it, and on these verticals you can kind of get a good angle to go upwards, and you can see yourself pushing the lime mortar into the joint, making it nice and tight, which is what we're aiming at ultimately. And then basically I just go along the horizontal. And what we don't want to do is keep going across and across, because that'll draw the water out. So like a little hole like that, you've got a choice. You can either obviously go for the fact that it's big enough or small enough, but let's take this, like this stone for a random size. That will definitely go in that vertical, so I can put that on the board there. And what I would do is do this horizontal one, compact that in, and with the board, the little dustpan, I just put it up next to the rock, and you tend not to drop that much then. There we go. And that's what we're looking for. So if we go up to this next one, and what I'll do here is put the mortar all the way into the back, compact it out like so, and then what I tend to do is get these little rocks and then push the rock in with the mortar like that, and then what I tend to do then is to go over the top of it. So that little rock is actually now buried into our joint. There you go. Not too heavy, because if we put too much weight on it now, it will draw the water out. But we're aiming for that nice consistency there. Now here I've got a brick, so I might go over that brick and give it like a little render effect. And then we have the randomness of stones and mortar, which I quite like that. There we go, and then just smooth it all in to join it all up like that. Now, we've done that round the red brick, but you might actually like that red brick, and you might think, oh, I can go around it. But what happened, this is not, well, it's 10 mil shy of our surface, so that's why I'm going to obviously fill that one in as well. I think it'll look better. So again, you've got to try to push all that mortar into that joint and around, because the depths of the stones all being slightly different, some further forward, some further back, it will actually give it a nice randomness. There we go. And if you think you've got a bit extra on your stone, just scrape it off like that. Let's get some more mortar. So basically, I've got my pointing trowel in the bucket, and what I'm going to try to do here, just so as it blends in, smooth it off nice and gently till into the bit we've already done, if you get me. And then hopefully when we bash it with the brush, it'll dry in nicely. So let's see. I think you can see that one there. That's quite a big hole, that. So let's put the little dustpan horizontal level, and hopefully you can't see there, can you? So if I hold it like that, what I'm doing, I'm trying to push it all in like that. Do you get that? Can you see it? And then if we go up top, I'm like that, trying to force it right to the back of our hole. And then that fills it all up nicely. Different angle. It's hard when you're right-handed. Well, it's not hard, but it's hard to show you when I'm right-handed. So there you go. So I'll just pull that back a little bit. So we know we had a big hole there, so I'll take this stone here, put my dustpan underneath in case any falls out, and I'll try and, there you go, get that one in there. So I'm losing a little bit of mortar now, so use my dustpan. Now you don't have to worry about this if when you're bashing it with your brush, if it ends up showing, it doesn't really matter, because it's a stone wall after all. And that one might just show out that, which will hopefully be quite nice. And there we go. So we'll do the next one. So I hold it like that, and I'm gonna push all that in there. And if you watch, there, can you see all the water coming to the surface by doing that? Which is not what we really want. But that gives you an idea of our line pointing. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you on time lapse. And this is an acquired skill, trust me. Really, it's just practice. practice makes perfect. That's what they say. Practice makes perfect. And when you've got 18 meters by what, 3 meters, that's a lot of practice. So I expect by the time we get to the end of it, we'll be perfect.